Hello, hello. One thing that I have been thinking about recently, I would say in the last year or so, is how I've been reframing the way, like shifting my perspective in a way of how I feel about being diagnosed with an autoimmune disease. So I've diagnosed a little over 10 years now, 10 years ago now. And obviously, when you first get that diagnosis, you're like, it's a scary feeling because you don't know what your life will look like. You don't know, how people will perceive you with the diagnosis. Um, yeah, and like I said, just in general, what the outlook of that will be. So on one hand, you're happy or happy that some of the symptoms that you've been dealing with and all that there's finally an answer for it. But it also is a little bit bittersweet because you're like, oh, it's a real thing. It's not just like in my head. It's not just these random symptoms. It's a real thing that I will now um, have to live with. Probably, most likely for the rest of my life. And so I kind of wanted to just say how I have been able to kind of see the silver lining. I know that's kind of like, probably when you saw the title of this video, you're kind of side eyeing. But I look at it as a silver lining because again, I could be in uh, that feeling in that state of like doom and gloom, which of course, when I was first diagnosed, I was. It took a little bit for me to finally like accept it. After, of course, I shared with my family and, prayed about it and all that kind of stuff, but you still have to sit with it. And like I said, just learn how you might have to navigate different things in your life. So I did go through that period of doom and gloom. And some days, even sometimes now, I go through, when some of my symptoms might flare up and things like that. But overall, I look at the silver lining because I do feel like it has really, how can I say this, is really catapulted me into this life of like health and wellness. So I really wanted to take like a more holistic way of like healing myself and things like that. So that really made me like research different things. Of course, with a serious diagnosis, autoimmune disease, sometimes you do have to take medication. So that's something that obviously you need to talk to your doctors about and things like that. That's, literally a conversation that you need to have with your doctors. But me, I was trying to like do things on my own and kind of trying to do things my own way at first, which also lesson learned. Um, because actually, I would say probably 10 before I got diagnosed, I actually met somebody she was my college roommate who was really into like health and wellness and like the holistic ways of living. So I was kind of already starting to learn more about that. And then one of my best friends, she's also one of those people who is really into it. But I'll be honest, like sometimes I was kind of like, again, side eyeing some of the stuff that they would be into or like recommend. And I'm just like, so I was open to hearing what they were talking about with different things. Like I said, this is before I was even diagnosed. But so they gave me those little seeds, I was getting those little seeds from them even from the start. And it's also funny how God also works in little ways like that. So I was also already starting to build on something even before knew I needed it. But like I said, once I got diagnosed with the autoimmune disease, and once I started to really want to be like, I need to tap in to my own body and to see like what I really need, what my body is lacking, and all those kind of things, it really took me into a even deeper journey, healing journey. So that's why I call it a silver lining because I feel like overall, like I'm probably personally more healthy because of this than if I was not ever diagnosed. And yeah, like because before I was diagnosed, I was, I ate more like junk. I like to snack a lot before then and stuff, but now it's way more like I kind of know what foods are good for me, bio individuality. Everybody's, different. But you know what foods might trigger things and not just foods, it's fitness. Like you need to be working out. And when I say working out, it could be just taking walks. Like it doesn't have to be in the gym, like pumping all this heavy iron. But And then also, it's not even food and fitness, it's more just like what I put on my body, like maybe different fragrances or lotions and things like that, or what I'm in, just surrounding myself in my environment. We won't get into all that in this video. But yeah, I just think, like I said, I do believe there was a silver lining in it, and that has helped me like shift my perspective when I do get like, maybe in my feelings about it, or like, why did this happen to me, or whatever. I'm like, well, there's a silver lining, and not only is it helping me, it has helped. I have been able to like help some of my family members because they see me as an example now, which is awesome. And so they sometimes come to me for advice, and also close friends who they see me and they see how I live and things like that, so they'll ask me questions, and that makes me feel really good, and I do love that. So actually, let me make sure there wasn't another thing that I wanted to also talk about. Let's see. Give me just a second. Yeah, I think those were the main portions that I wanted to like kind of come in here and talk to you guys about. And yeah, like I said, I think the big thing is like, also the one thing that I did forget to mention is, another thing is, even before I was diagnosed, like even when I was younger, I would have these random things that would happen to my body. And now I have an answer for that now too. I have an autoimmune disease. So it's like, autoimmune, it can just trigger your whole body in different ways. And so like finally getting a diagnosis of some sort also kind of answered some of those questions, even for like my mom, was just like, oh, okay. And like some of my family members who were like, yeah, you used to always have like random things, like random, just like, I don't know, random things. I don't even want to get into it. But so yeah, that kind of also answered some questions. And like I said, just in general now, it's just like my body will give me these little signs even before it gets too severe or extreme. So I'm like actually thankful for that. But yeah, I'm curious, like, can you relate, or is there anything, even if it wasn't like a severe diagnosis or anything that you have, is there something where it's like a negative thing that impacted you, but maybe now you can see the silver lining? I'd love to hear about it. All right, bye.